Hello, my name is Martin, welcome back to another video. I'm in the third deepest canal lock in the country and it's had problems. So we're going to look at the problems that it's had and we're going to look at the way the Canal and River Trust with their associated contractors are repairing it and just the detail that they're taking to lovingly restore this lock that's had problems bulging. The walls have been bulging. So I'm going to take you on a journey of bricks and brick reclamation and the work that they're doing here and this fascinating lock. So where are we this week? Well, Toto, I don't think we're in Manchester anymore. In fact, we're here just outside Birmingham on the Worcester and Birmingham Canal at a place called Tardebigge. Top lock, lock number 58, and as I said, it's had some problems. So we're going to look at the way the Canal and River Trust tackle these problems and maintain authenticity and think about conservation wherever possible. The journey is going to take us around Birmingham. It's going to take us to Cawardens brick reclamation yard. It's going to take us to a massive clay quarry and the Brickworks as well, and then we're going to get back to Tardebigge locks. So join us on our little journey around Birmingham this week as we see just what it takes to repair a canal lock. Okay, this is more for me than for you. I knew absolutely zilch about the Worcester and Birmingham Canal, but here you go. That's the route of it, and you can see at the bottom end there, it actually joins the River Severn, which I didn't know as well. So, here's some basic facts, ripped straight from the internet. It's 29.5 miles long, 58 locks on it. The longest tunnel is Wast Hills Tunnel, one of the longest on the canal, and its historical significance, it was once a busy commercial route and it played a key role in the Midlands industrial development. The rest of it you can read for yourself. It's very beautiful, so if you're going down that area, I suggest you take a walk along it. Okay, so let's go down into the lock and see what Kia, the principal contractor, has been doing to restore this lock. So Tardebigge lock is actually in quite a lovely rural location. It's very beautiful, and as the works come into view here, you'll see the plastic sheeting over the workings. That makes a bit of a noise when I'm filming later because it rained. You'll see the dam there because they've had to dry out the whole lock, and you'll see the little crossing place there. They would have done a fish rescue as well preceding these works. So as we look here, we can see a mass of scaffolding, and that's in place to hold the walls of the lock in place so that nothing collapses inwards. It's quite daunting. Let's go down. And we'll see at the bottom. Now when you're down in the lock, the lock gates literally tower above you. Do you remember when we saw these being made? Can you imagine making those? They're massive. There's a platform in the bottom, so you're no way at the bottom of the lock, but it is 18 foot deep, the third deepest lock in the country. This is the arrangement of all the scaffolding supporting the walls. You'll notice that it is only one side that's affected, one wall that's affected. So they've stripped back one of the courses, or a few of the courses, and this is the arrangement behind that front fascia. What I want to point out to you is that if you look on the right hand side, it's they're engineering blue bricks on the fascia of the lock. That side isn't affected. Like I say, it's just the other side here that you can see. It's important to remember those engineering blue bricks because they will feature heavily in this story. Looking back on the top, I love this. Look at the way the sort of like the construction ties the lock wall into the earthworks. As we look at this, I want to zoom in on what I think of these, what I call buttresses, but they're probably the opposite to buttresses. Look at these here, and as we zoom in, you can see they kind of like these extra bits here go backwards into the earthworks. So we're looking very much here at, you know, this is 1815, 1818, this lock. So you're looking at 200-year-old construction here, techniques. Now again, looking at the top, I counted backwards 8 courses of bricks going backwards to those buttress constructions that I've pointed out to you. 8 courses, front course being engineering blue bricks, which are very highly resistant to moisture. Also, I want you to clock, as we look in the courses here, look at the timber there. Can you see the timber there? And as we go down in the lock, you'll see the timber again built into the courses of bricks. What these are H sections of, we think, elm, and they are
ties, so the big structures, H-shaped sections of elm that tie the courses of brickwork together. Incredible. So this is the way they built this 200 years ago, 1815, 1818. And it's, if you look at the lower parts of the courses, the fascia, these aren't affected. It's only as we go up that the front courses are affected. So I asked the question.
Yeah, so it's only the front face. We couldn't be sure at first, but on investigation it was just the front face. So that front face had bulged out from the rear. And principally that failure mechanism was down to the lack of these timber ties, probably wear over the years, some water has got in. We've ended up with what's almost been like a cavity wall there, with the lock being emptied and filled all the time. Then you get that you've got the hydrostatic pressure sort of in there, and gradually over time it's deformed the wall. But as the wall had then started to displace, it had pulled much further back. We could see it had started to detach sort of further here.
Kind of peeling.
It was almost like peeling, yeah, the front face was then peeling away.
Yeah.
We've managed to save most of this back here. We don't want to be taking out any more than we need to. So off the rest of it here, we've just taken off the very front face.
It's going to take you to the top end of the lock. Take a look around here. So the gentleman from the Canal and River Trust was telling me he thinks this is the culprit up here at the top end of the lock. As we go through here, you can see this this far end of the lock. We think the water's got in around here somewhere, got behind those initial fascia bricks and done its damage. Quite fascinating to see this part of the lock. And as you can see, we're nowhere near the bottom, even though we're on this platform. This is a very, very old this, and there's the sill just coming into view if I know my locks. But we think this is the culprit, this top end here.
So if that timber is from 1818, right, I immediately look at it and think, when was that tree growing? That's what I think. Yeah. If that's 207-year-old, when did that last see a bird? That's what I kind of think.
As we've taken the front of the brickwork off, these ties are in pristine condition.
Yeah.
Now those ties, we're not going to touch them. We're going to leave them in place, and when we replace the brickwork, those will be preserved there, and they'll continue. They can continue to function.
Emily, these bricks, what's the what we're doing with them? We've took some off the fascia. What's happening?
Well, we're trying to retain as much as we possibly can because this is historic fabric. So we are taking them to Cawardens and having them cleaned off, so then we can replace them back into the lock. The ones that we can't use, they're also going to be used by a local farmer who will be able to use those in type 1 material for trackway or whatever he would like to, because we want to reduce the amount of waste that we are making and sending to landfill, because that's not good for the environment.
So some are being reclaimed, and then the other ones are actually going to be replaced by newer bricks, is
yes,
that right?
That's right. So we're going with Ketley Blue.
Yeah.
We had to have that agreed by the conservation officer at the local council. We actually had 4-5 different types of bricks to start with to get the best match to the original, and Ketley came up as the closest match to the original facing bricks that we had here in the lock.
So there you go, fantastic, you heard that. Some of the bricks, or the fascia bricks, are going to be reclaimed, cleaned off and reclaimed, and what they can't clean off and reclaim, they're going to source a new brick that's as near to the original as possible. So here we go on our journey of bricks, and the first stop is Cawardens, a brick reclamation yard. Well, it's actually lots of building material, but Cawardens to the north of Birmingham, and we're going to take a look at this place. Here we go, destruction to construction, brilliant. This is Cawardens Yard, and honestly, if you're into your heritage building materials, this is the place for you. This is just a little bit of some of the stuff we were getting excited about, these wonderful bricks, because we see these on our journey around the rivers and around the old places we go to, so it was great to see some of this stuff. Anyway, here are the bricks from the lock, and they are here at Cawardens awaiting their treatment.
So go on, Roy, what kind of brick is that?
Well, it's a Staffordshire blue. You'd be forgiven for thinking that looking at it, because it's encased in essentially concrete. So this is one that's come out of the lock. You can just see a bit of the blue there. These are all handmade bricks back in the day. So they've come here to be faced off, to be cleaned off, blasted. So in a minute we'll show you that process. So we're going to go from this. When we jump over to the side of the yard, we'll show you one that's been finished, and you'll see the difference. You'll see the blue shining through almost.
So this phrase, encased in concrete, what was that about? Because these bricks, as far as I'm aware, are very, very old, from the 1818, the early 1800s. So I asked the question to Russell from Cawardens.
They were experimenting at the time of this lock being built with using a lime mixed with other substances such as flint. So they'd mix the flint in with the lime, which made it a lot more waterproof.
So we're going back a long way there.
Yeah, 1818 is it that it was actually produced.
Is that when it was?
I think 1818 was when the lock was actually commissioned. Which has literally been unbelievable to try and clean.
Labour intensive.
Hugely labour intensive. There's 4 or 5 processes to get it to the point of where we're actually cleaning them with the dustless system.
So Russell, we've seen the machine in action.
Yep.
What exactly is it firing at those bricks to clear them off?
Okay, so the dustless system that we use uses glass, which is a glass bead. It's milled down to about 0.4 mil, and it's made out of recycled bottles. So you get all the different colours, as you mentioned earlier, the clear, blue,
that was fascinating.
green, brown.
Yeah.
So it's environmentally friendly because it's all recycled product. We're going to do about 6,000.
6,000?
Yeah,
Right.
we've already done about 2,500 already,
Right.
which just took us about 3 weeks.
Wow. And there you go, the finished product. So that now is going back to Tardebigge lock, and it will be the fascia bricks for the locks. So 1818 or the early 1800s, they've been sat in that lock, come here, had a good clean off, got rid of all that experimental lime mortar, and now they're off back to face the water again. Right, so I always can't help but think back in time when I come down here. And looking at the construction methods, it just doesn't, I want to say it takes me back, but obviously it doesn't. But when you're looking at the bricks and you think of who laid them, and then you get told about these H sections of timber that pin the walls into the buttresses behind this and went into the earthworks. There must have been horses coming up here bringing raw materials, there must have been carpenters, bricklayers, just as skilled as they are today, down here building this. And obviously this is the 3rd deepest lock in the country, so it would have been a fair old bit of work. And obviously there's locks further down the canal as well. It's absolutely fascinating. The fact that they've taken the bricks off and repurposed them to be all cleaned up and then put them back on as the fascia is incredible. And what an insight into the way they built locks, because those buttresses that you could see from the top, I never knew about that. I never knew those existed. But when you look at what they've had to put in here to pin the whole thing back and hold it back, incredible, absolutely incredible to see.
Okay, so this diagram shows those, what I'm calling buttresses. They look like castellations on this diagram here. I'm aware I'm not using the right terminology, but they are designed to sort of like tie the lock walls back into the earthworks. So I know I'm not saying the right thing, but I'm a layman trying to learn all this stuff. So I know somebody will correct me, but that's a good, that diagram shows what I'm talking about on the edge of the lock, what appeared to be like square castellations, for want of a better word, but you know what I mean.
So the bricks that couldn't be reclaimed, some of them had to be replaced, didn't they, Roy? What's happening? Where are we going to now?
So we're going to Ketley's, and we're going to have a look at the bricks there. So behind me is a number of blue Staffordshire alternatives. And you can see, although they look similar, there's different styles here. I think they actually looked at 5 different options before they realised Ketley's were the best fits in terms of colour and size. So we're off to Ketley's then, and I believe one of these is for Ketley's, perhaps this one here, and we're going to go and have a look at that.
So we're going to go and see bricks being made.
Correct.
Brilliant.
Ready for the lock.
And the quarry where they're produced from.
Of course.
So before we go to the brickworks, as you know, bricks are made from clay. So we need to do this brick journey properly, and we need to go right back to source. And before we go to Ketley Brickworks, we're going to go to Hollybank Quarry, which supplies the clay that Ketley Brickworks uses. It's near to Cannock in Staffordshire. So let's go and take a look at this quarry. Rather interesting.
Right, so where are we now?
We're over at Hollybank Quarry in Staffordshire, and behind us Cannock Chase.
And here is a massive stockpile of clay that's come out of the quarry behind us. This is immense, I'm telling you. And they're just loading it up now, and some of this will go down to the brickworks where we're going to go shortly.
Right, so finally we're going to follow this clay, and we're going to go to Ketley Bricks, and we're going to go to their Dreadnought factory and see what goes on there and how they produce bricks.
It's incredible. I'm in the brickworks. Finally. 1805 it was established. Things have changed, obviously. There's been a lot more automation today, but the basic principles of taking clay, crushing it, making it usable for the bricks, drying it, baking it has not changed. So let's go and see what goes on here.
So this is the start of our production process, and this is where our clay arrives from the quarry. You can see at this point the clay's in quite large chunks. There's probably some variation in quality and some additives and impurities in the clay. So we take the clay from here, put it through clay production, basically make a consistent and uniform product.
So this is from the quarry?
This is direct from the quarry. It would have been excavated to the quarry and then stockpiled on site.
So as you can see, the clay comes in quite lumpy and bumpy, and it needs crushing down and making finer and getting to a nice good consistency so it can be worked with and made into bricks.
So in this area here that you're looking at, this is a process of bringing it from its raw material, big lumps of clay, taking it through a series of crushers and hoppers and sending it and adding sand to it, and it just becomes more and more fine, ready for the firing process, from what I understand.
So if you're anything like me, you'll love this machine. This is a big roller crusher machine. Just take a look at this. Now it's all about getting a good consistency to make workable clay. You do add some water to it. This is a big extruding machine, and there's a big square brick sausage there coming out, and as you see it comes along here, it gets chopped into workable sections. At this point it's like cheese wire that chops it. It's still very soft, the clay, It's been chopped there, you see, and it goes into another machine now that will again cheese wire chop it, for want of a better description. Goes in here, and this will make it into individual bricks now. Here we go, and it pushes it up, and then bang, becomes bricks, and off it goes. Now the bricks then have to be dried, slow dried in a big dryer like this. It could be over a matter of days where they slowly dry out the water from the bricks, and then eventually you get a big stack of nice bricks ready to go in the ovens. Now what makes it a blue brick? Well, it's the length of time of firing. It's fired for longer. In some cases, other manufacturers do add magnesium to the bricks to give them a blue look, but at Ketley's it's about firing them for longer. Makes a very hard, moisture impermeable brick.
These are the brick kilns, and it's the heat's incredible here.
1100 degrees Celsius.
How many?
1100 degrees.
Right, 1100 degrees Celsius in there. The heat's unbelievable. So that's an actual kiln in there.
See the installation on this. And there we go, and that's what we're ending up with.
That's the finished product, is it?
Yes.
That's fired.
Right, fired.
Rock hard.
Rock hard.
Ready to go. Back to the lock. Brilliant. So here at the Dreadnought Works, they produce about 6 million bricks a year, but the quality. And apparently these are the ones for Tardebigge Lock, ready to go to the Canal and River Trust. Look at those corkers, almost shining blue there. And they can sit by the side of their 220-year-old counterparts. Right, so we've got our bricks. Where are we off now?
Tardebigge locks. Take our bricks with us, I think.
We've made some bricks for the locks. We're going down there. Can't lay them, but we'll take them, and I'm sure they can make use of them.
So here we are back on the Worcester and Birmingham Canal. Top lock, lock 58, Tardebigge locks. And the bricks will be coming here, and we're going to try and get back and see what's been going on, see the work that's been accomplished, try and get some footage of the brickies doing their thing, and looking at the new walls. So we will try and get back down here and give you an update of how the bricks are settling into their new home. Now, we had such a good 2 days filming all this, and honestly everyone that we encountered was so fantastic with us, eager to let us film and to explain the processes, and it was just brilliant. The whole experience was brilliant. So I'd like to thank Ketley's, I'd like to thank Cawardens, and I'd like to thank the Canal and River Trust for giving us this unique opportunity to see just what's involved in this repair of this canal lock. So hopefully we can get back as well. So thanks to all involved. Anyway.
So there you go, a restoration story from the Birmingham and Worcester Canal. Did you like that?
Certainly did.
We've learned all about bricks, and we've learned the lengths that the Canal and River Trust and Ketley the contractor will go to just to lovingly restore this lock and have it running again, and obviously all the unexpected calamities that they can encounter on 2,000 miles worth of canal network around Britain. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.